right. So good evening to you all. And for those in Ghana, good morning. I trust good afternoon actually. I trust you're all doing well. So the feedback I got was I probably went through the process quite quickly. So some students still don't get what we did on Thursday. So I would quickly go over it again. First, I had to do that before we go into functions and loops, because that's what we plan to do this week. All right, before we go in, how many of you saw the workbook I shared within the chat? How many? You just, okay, Apple, you saw it, great. Who else? Myrene, Gideon, good, good. Morel, yes. And did you try your hands on them? What are some of the challenges you faced? Briefly, I would go over everything again, but I just want to, understand what you guys went through when you tried working on it. So you can, if you want to speak, you can raise your hand, or you can type your observations within the chat. But we'll go over it again. So let me quickly share my screen. Give me a moment. All right. Can my screen be seen?
Yes, Doc. I can see your screen.
All right, great, great. So let me look at the chats and see what we have. Like I said, this class is a free-for-all class, okay? I want you all to express yourself as much as possible, because in programming, you're expressing yourself, actually helps with your innovative, thinking. So don't hold back. There's nothing like wrong opinions or wrong ideas in this class, only unacceptable ones. And those are because they probably will not work. But besides that, anything else goes. So feel free, to share your ideas, you know. So, and like I mentioned, the more you practice on your own, the better you would be at programming. You don't have to always wait for the class before you do something. It's very important. That's why I shared the assignment with you. So let me quickly start my Jupyter notebook. We all know how to do that, right? At this point, I think that some of you are already, you can call yourself beginner programmers because you can, run codes within the notebook. All right. So I'm still taking feedback from you all. What did you try? Okay, I wasn't getting the exercise 5. Okay, set 5. Okay, set 5. All right, all right, all right. We'll talk about all of that today. Any feedback, anything new you learned that we didn't do in class? Like, I want you to share ideas. Okay, so Moro, I can see that you couldn't do set 5. It means you were able to do 1 through to 4. Can you share briefly, something you learned, something new you learned that we didn't touch on in class? Are you there? Well,
Hello.
yeah, hello. So let's hear it.
I'm connecting my
No, you don't need to share
Jupyter.
the screen. Just
Okay.
speak.
So for I think the set 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, let me do one.
So today we are going to create a new notebook. Okay, so you have to create a new file and then we call it data types 2. And also kindly remind me to share my notebook after the class. I usually forget to do that too. When the class is over and you need it, just share, just prompt me in the chat and I'll share it with you. Okay. So we are going to do, let's call today's class array slicing. All right, Morel, let's hear you.
Okay, so for the exercise set 4, the last question, I think it was asking about we need to find the other row, like skip. So
Yep.
yeah, so I learned that like you can do, you see the step size, right? You can do it for both the row and then the column.
Okay,
The
that's
column.
good.
Yeah.
That's true.
But you
All
just
right,
have
thank you very
to.
much. Uh-huh. Sure.
Should I continue?
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
sure. Go
just have
ahead.
to separate. You just have to separate it with the comma. But like when you're introducing the step size for the row, you still need to bring the color. This semicolon. No, the color.
Lord.
And
Yeah.
then when you're about to mention the part for the column, you bring the comma and then introduce the step size for also the column. I don't know if it makes sense.
It does to me though, but I don't know about the others. Irene, your hand is up.
Please, remember to share the typical note one, the data type one.
I don't understand. Is it an observation you did during the class, or I'm trying to?
No, I mean the first one that I was doing, we did before we are coming to the whole this thing we did. You said earlier that you share it, but you didn't share it. That's why I'm reminding you. So we share it alongside with the second one we are coming to do. Because when you go to the YouTube
Okay, sure.
videos, it doesn't you were skipping it, so we were not getting the concept. Some of us the other day we were having problem with the Jupiter, so we couldn't follow. So we wanted to go and watch the YouTube video, but it was flipping throughout, so we couldn't get the systematic way of doing the sliding and indexing.
Okay, that is okay. That's an interesting observation. I think if the videos are on YouTube, the videos have to be systematic. It probably should follow everything we did in class. There shouldn't be any, unless the videos were, truncated at some point. But don't worry, we
Yes,
would go through all of
yes.
it
When
today.
you where you did everything and when we wanted to introduce the Boolean data type, the previous one that you did using the listing and the other one where the video were jumping, it moved straight to Boolean, so we couldn't
I
get
can't just say
the
open share there. Our prices come on. Yeah, if you go video, we say what's the price? I won't question because I am break. What the prices are? Who should you pay now on the price?
Odro, can you mute,
So
please?
we pay now on the price for standard price too.
Odro. Thank you. All right, so let's go into the what we did last week quickly, and then we'll look at the assignment, and then we will look at what we are supposed to do today. Okay, so like I mentioned before, type is just to tell you. It's like asking Python to tell you what type of data is within this. That is all. So this is just an inbuilt command to check the data type you are working with. So I just use this one to inform you that, oh, this is an integer, this is a boolean, this is da. That's all. And we know that from an integer are whole numbers. So we already know like those things in our basic mathematics class. So I won't go into that. And floats are decimal point numbers. Okay. And then if you want to initialize a string, we've done that already. You know how to do that. and the Boolean is either true or false, and then the non-type, which we've already done that. So I'm not going to go through that today. Grace, your hand is up. Grace. All right. So whilst I wait for Grace, let me see. Okay. All right. So to initialize a list, okay, like I said, a list is anything that falls within square brackets. It could be strings, it could be floating point numbers, it could be integers, or it could even be a mixture of integers, booleans, whatever. Those are lists that are already built in Python. So whatever you put within square brackets becomes a list. And I mentioned that for a list, it is mutable. You can make changes to a list. So once you initialize a list, you can remove some from them, add some things to them, and all those things. But for those ones, I would want you to go and play around with those. Okay. So it's not like I skipped them. Some of these things I want you to practice, and if you have a challenge, you come to me and then we work on it together. So an example of a list can be something like this. This is a list. Okay. So if we want to see what type it is, we just put type for Python to tell us what it is. It tells us a list, okay? So this is basically one thing. And now if you want a tuple, and I said a tuple is usually one that is immutable. You can't make changes to it. Once you initialize it, you can't add or remove any of the elements within it. So just keep that in mind. And I want you to practice these things on your own, how to add, how to remove lists, so that you see how it feels like, okay? And so a tuple is basic. So this would be tuple, all right? So if you run this, we'll give you this. Let's try and see what type it is. Okay. You see, it tells us it's a tuple. So you need to understand this, why we use this kind of, quotes, brackets. The square is for a list. These brackets, the normal ones are for a tuple. And then when we do this, the curly brackets are for dictionaries. And dictionaries, I mentioned, comes with key and values. Okay, so for example, if you want to collect the data of a student in the class, what you would want to know first is the name of the student. Okay, so now the name is the key. And what value is it? Like, what is the name of the student? That's the value, right? So you can say the name is John. Okay. Then the next thing you want to know about the student is probably the student's age. So since age is a string, you put it this way, and we know that age is usually an integer, unless maybe you want to add decimals to it, then it becomes a float point number. So the student is probably 12 years old. Okay. Then which class is the student? You can put it here as well. Class. And the class, you can say maybe 3B or something like that. So this is an example of how a dictionary looks like. Dictionary always comes in pairs like this. So there's the key and there's a value. Key, value, in that order. And the keys are usually strings because they are names that you'll be calling. And the values can be strings, tuple, can be whatever, depending on what data type you want to store for that key. Okay. So when we run this, we have this, and we can use type again to check what data type you are working with. Like that. So you see, it tells us it's a dictionary. So just keep that in mind. This is how you create or initialize the data types. And like I said, sometimes you would want to use this information over and over and over again. What you do is that you assign this to a variable. That is, you want to keep it in a certain container where anytime you want information, you can just reach out into that container and pull the information you want. That is basically what a variable does. It stores, values for you, or it stores data for you. So we can call this class data. Okay. This is the dictionary we are working with. You have done this before, so I'm just going over it again. So now, when we run this, there will be no results telling us that yes, it has been stored here. So now, if I say go into class data, okay, and pick name for me, see what happens. Okay, it tells me name is John. So you see, it doesn't give me the key, it gives me the value. So the key is similar to how we use array indices to pick elements within a list or an array. Okay, so this is similar to how it works in the dictionary. So you enter the key and then it brings you the value. So if I want the age, and I usually like to copy and paste so I don't make errors, I put it here and I run this. You see what happens? It tells me that the age is 12. If you want to find the class in which the student is, you can just copy this and then you run it. It gives you the values in there. You understand? So there can be dictionaries within dictionaries. So when it comes to these things, you can have several steps within them. And going forward, we are going to see how some of these ones are done. So just understand how these ones work for the time being. Now, we will work with lists most often. Dictionaries would come in when we are working on, data types and all that. But even with that, we have modules that work on that for us. So we won't worry ahead about it for now. So I mentioned if you want to initialize a list, let's call it first list. Okay. So I said to initialize a list, you need to use the square brackets. So we can say 1, 6, 9, these are the elements within the list that we are working with. Okay. Let me put 2 here. All right. So now we are saying that this list that we have created, put it inside first list. Now, so anytime we call first list, it gives us what is within it. Okay. Let me see, are there any questions? Oh, okay. All right. So we keep going. So now we've initialized our list into this variable. So anytime we call this variable, it will churn out the list that we stored in it for us. So it is like, so the variable is more or less like a purse or a bag that you store things in them. So anytime you call that bag or whatever, it gives you the things that are in it. Just see it like that to make it more understandable. All right. So now we want to find the first, and like I mentioned, the indices are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 in that order. So when you are starting from the right, the indices starts from 0. The index, starts from 0. But when you are starting from, when you are starting from the left, the index starts from 0, 1 in that order, in ascending order. However, if you are starting from the right, now it starts from -1 in descending order. So -1, -2, -3 in that order, all the way to this point. Okay. So I mentioned that if you want to pick, for example, you want the first element within this variable, okay, you would say that go in there and pick the first element for me. And the first element has index what? 0. Okay. You run this, so it tells you the first element is 1. Now we want to pick the second element. The index will now be 1 because we say this is 0, 1, 2 in that order when it comes to the index. Okay. We run this and then gives us 5. All right. So now we want to pick the last element. We can either go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or whatever, or we can start from negative. So in cases where you don't know the length of your list, it is always better to start with the negative so that you can just pick the last element. Okay. So we say pick the last element for me. So we put -1 and it picks the last element for us. Okay. You want to pick the last but one. You ask it to churn out -2, index -2, element at -2 index, right? It gives you 32. Okay, so this is basically how you play around with it. And we talked about how you want to, if you want to pick a section of it, okay? So we want to pick 5, 3, 8, 9, and 6, okay? So what we have to do now is that we will call the name of the variable. And now the rule is that you enter the first point, the starting point, and then you bring a colon and the ending point, okay? So the starting point is 5. We want to start from 5. And what index is 5? 5 is index 1. So we say 1 all the way to, you wanted to get all the way to 6, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, if you want to include the last element as well, then it means that you need to add an extra 1 to the index. So even though 6 has an index of 5, if we put 5 here, 6 will be excluded from the results. But we want to include 6. So what we do is, at the end, we always add an extra 1 so that we can include that particular element as well. So now we have it this way, okay? Similarly, if you want to start from, say, the last end, so this point, what we can do is, we want from 2 to 10, okay? So let me just run this command here so we can actually see the list. Yeah. All right, so we want to run from this point to this point, okay? So what we do is we call our first list, and then we tell first list that we want to pick from the last element, okay? But then if you do this, I remember someone did this, and then we had an error, okay? What will happen is that you are asking Python to move from right to left instead of from left to right. And it usually doesn't work like that. So when we run this, it's going to give us an empty array. So since you want to move from this point to the last end, okay, this is -1, -2, -3, -4. So what you do is you start from -4 to -1. Now you are going to get the results. But you notice that it did not include this because we always say that you should always, if you want the last element, you should always add an extra 1. But if we add extra 1 to this, it becomes 0. And when this is 0, what is going to happen? An empty array, because it means that this has an index of 0. You understand? So then in that case, the designers came up with the idea that if you want to take everything after a certain index, right, all you have to do is just leave it empty. No need to put anything there. So once you do this, you are going to have everything. Similarly, if I want to pick everything right from the beginning up until 6, like that, from the beginning, okay, up until 6, I could just write, okay, I could just write, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, so I could just write colon to 6. Okay, 6 has an index of 5, but I want to include 6. So I'll add an extra 1 to the index, and I'll have it this way. Then when I run this, it gives me this. Because if I don't include the extra 1, it would exclude 6 from the list that I want. So this is basically how you play around with the list. Okay. Now we want to be skipping steps. Okay, jumping around. Let me see if there's a question. Please, how about the reverse? I don't understand what you mean by the reverse. If you can lift your hand and then ask the question again.
Okay,
Wilberforce.
so yes, so I mean the reverse, for example, if you want to start from -1, -2, -3 to the beginning where it ends at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, how do you write that expression?
The reverse, I'm trying to understand. So what you are saying is that maybe you want to pick from here to here, right?
Yes,
But
yes,
you want to start with the
from
negative index.
56. Yes,
Okay,
from
so
56 to 1.
yeah, from 56, good. So what is the index of 56 if you are starting from the, if you are going with the reverse?
-2.
Negative what?
-2. Sorry,
Is it
-3. Sorry.
good? Good. So then let's do this. And I'm saying that you want everything. Since you want everything, what you do is you just bring the colon and say, I want everything from the beginning. Now, the index of 56 is -3, but we want to include 56 in it. So what we do is we add an extra 1. So -3 plus 1 will give us -2. So we put -2 here. It's the same way, and then you run it. It gives you till 56. Nothing has changed. Similar, so it's the same thing you do. So all you need to do is the starting point and the ending point. And remember that Python starts from left to right. So don't give it the command to start from right to left. It's going to give you an empty array. That's it. Now, like I mentioned that you want to jump, you want to hop. Okay. In some cases, you want to pick only 1, 3, 9, 10, and then 32 in that order. So what we do is we say that we call and we want everything from the beginning all the way to the end. Then we bring our step 2. So we are saying that instead of the normal approaches, it does only one step. So it will give you everything. But we want 2 steps. Okay. We want to skip 5, skip 8 in that order. So what we do is we bring this and then we say skip 2 steps, right? And give me the results. So what happens is that you see it picks 1, ignores 5, picks 3, ignores 8, picks 9 in that order. Okay. Then we have this. That is basically what this step does. So if you want to pick 1, 8, like want to skip 3 steps. So 1, you skip first, second, and then we pick the third. Skip first, second, and pick the third. What we do is we write the same command, saying for all rows and all columns, skip 3 steps. Sorry, for all the elements starting from 0 till the end, skip 3 steps. You see what it's doing now? It picks 1, skips, and then goes to the third element, skips the third, skips, and the third. So how about I want to do the same, but we want to start from 5 and then that's 6. We know how to slice an array. So if we want to slice this, okay, what do? We say start from index 1 all the way to, I went to 56, right? So 56 we know is index negative what? 3. Or you could say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, index 7, we put index 8. Okay. But what I would want to do is I want to start from the negatives because it's easier. -1, -2, -3. So if I add 1 to -3, I'm going to get -2. But then I want to skip. Okay, I want to skip 3 skip 9, and skip 10 within this array as well. So then it means that I'm going to ask it to once again skip 2 steps. So now I have sliced the array and I've added steps to it as well. So when I run this, you see what is happening. To 5 to 56, it picks 5, skips 3, picks 8, skips 9, picks 6, skips 10, and 56. So that is how you do it when you want to slice the array and also skip steps within the slice. The reason I'm going through this is because of the assignment. Okay, so what if you want to select 1, 3, and 8? 1, 3, and 8. I don't know how you are going to do that because the formula you have, then what you have to do is you first of all have to define, that is a very good question, 9. So what you have to do is, 9 is asking, okay, that what if you want to pick 1, then skip 5, pick 3, and then pick 8. What is happening is that now you want to pick a certain, rhythm, but it doesn't fall within the step. So what you do is you have to do this twice, okay? So what you do now is, because you want 1, 3, and 8, what you have to do first is you have to pick 1 to 8. Okay, then once you have 1 to 8, what you do again is that you use another, algorithm or another slicing to take away the 5 within it. So how are you going to do that? That is the beauty of programming. So with programming, you are not always going to have the building blocks available to you, but you as the craftsman should know how to use the available blocks to achieve your aim. That is what is innovative about programming. So you can't have everything like at your beck and call. So sometimes you have to reshuffle things, maybe go into steps, perform several iterative actions to get what you want. So that is how you are going to go about it. Okay. So that is basically that for the array slicing. Are there any questions to this point before I go into multi-dimensional array slicing? Any questions? I think I saw someone asking something. Let me check again. Yeah, question. I should go over the steps again. You need to be specific. I can't start from the top. So what is your challenge? If you have any issue, probably you would also have to try and watch the YouTube video after the class, so we don't keep going, repeating the same thing. This is something that we did on Thursday, and I've done it again today. So if possible, try and watch the YouTube video, and then I'm sure you get the results. And I would also share this file with you after the class. So after the class, just copy this, whatever I'm going to give to you, and put it inside the folder you are working from, and run your Jupyter notebook. Then you can play around with it. Okay, go through it and play around. All right. So now we want to do multi-dimensional. Multi-dimensional means that we are working with an array that has more than one dimension. So what we have been doing so far, this is a one-dimensional array. You can say it is likened to a vector, but then because of certain functions you can perform, operations you can perform on vectors, you can't say it's the same thing. So it is similar to like a vector, right? One-dimensional array. How do we create a folder? A new folder. Hey, Irene, maybe you do the chomo. You do kumase kra, unamakra. All right, we'll look at that later. I have a hand up from Mauli. Mauli, briefly.
Yes, please. I want you to help me. How will I be if I want to be making notes about the explanation you are giving in the as a comment? How do I do it?
Okay. I would show you how you put comments in there. I was planning to put that when we are doing functions, where we are going to be doing a lot of commenting, talking about the functions and all that. But since you've asked it, let me quickly go through it. So in Python, if you want to write a comment, okay, that is a comment is basically a non-executable code. So what Python does is that if it sees that line of code, it will skip it, it will not execute it. That is a comment. So we use that to also tell us what's going on within the code. So what you basically do is you bring hash, and then whatever you type after the hash symbol, okay, or the hash sign, okay, what happens is when I run this, it is not going to give any output because this is not an executable line. So within the code, you can, for example, you can say this is how to initialize a list, right? Then you come to the next line. Then you say short list, something like this, right? You are done. So when you run this, what is going to happen is that you will notice that it now creates short list, but then it doesn't run this because this is just a comment. So this does not get executed. So if I call short list, it gives me this. Sorry, if I call short list like that, it gives me the list that I just initialized. So this is how you initialize a comment. So for example, the moment you bring something here, hash, then you go to the next line and then you run short list, right? What it does is that it's going to run only short list and forget about this line because this line is a comment. We will talk about it extensively when we are dealing with functions because that's where you'll be using a lot of comments. So that's basically how it works. There are times that you want to have several lines of comments. What you do is in the next line, you bring the same thing and type whatever it is you want to type. You understand? All the way. So anytime you bring a comment, you bring a hash sign, you just keep commenting it and see what happens if I do this to this one. Before, this line was an executable line, but because I brought this hash here, if I run this, it no longer executes because now Python sees this as a command, as a non-executable command. Okay, so understand that. But if I remove this and I run, now it gives me a result. You get the difference. So without the hash, it sees it as an executable command. But the moment I bring the hash there, it's no longer executable. That is the difference. Okay. So we'll talk extensively about comments when we work on the functions. There are some how do you open? Good. Thank you, Mida, for helping him out. Yes. So Peter, you should be okay, right? Mida uses what do you call it, MacBook. So if there's any challenge, I'm positive she can help you. Yes, that's exactly what Mida typed for you. So check the chat. Just type the command that she put in there, and you should have your notebook running. Thank you, Mida, for helping out. All right, Odru is also helping. Very good. Thank you so much. You should be resourceful. Okay, thank you. All right. So now that we've gone over the comments, let's no, Kobina, I think Peter uses a MacBook. So you have to go into your terminal. If you are using a MacBook, it's not the same for window users. All right. So once we have this done, okay, let's look at multi-dimensional arrays, because what we have been doing so far is only one dimension. So for a multi-dimensional array, I said that let's, for example, initialize one. Let's call it first multi-dim. Okay, so you open and close. Okay, then you open another and close. So now whatever you type in here forms the rows of the code. Okay, so we have a first row, you bring another, this will be the second row, then another, this will be the third row. All right, so you can initialize it this way. Okay, then when we call this, it will tell us this is how you initialize. So now this is a multi-dimensional array, but for me, for visualization purposes, okay, I usually like to put them on different lines. So this I will do it this way. That way I am able to see the starting and the ending of the list that I've created. So this is how the list looks to me. Okay, so I can leave it this way, and if you run this command, it still gives you the same results. It doesn't change anything, but for me to be able to see my code thoroughly, this I prefer to go this way. Okay, all right. So now that we have this, okay, we want to pick the first row. Okay, so what you do is you call this variable, and then we all know that if you want to step into the variable and pick an element, be it a row, column, or a single value, you have to bring the square brackets. Okay, then we say pick. Now, what you need to understand is that this is index 0 for row, index 1 for row, index 2 for row. Okay, for rows, the index starts from the top to the bottom. Okay, so it's similar here. It's the same thing. So this whole thing now is row 1. So it has index 0. The whole of this, you see, similarly, you see when we're doing this, we had the elements, comma, element, comma, element, comma, and this had an index of 0, index of 1, index of 2. It's the same way. But in this case now, instead of a single element, it is now another, what do you call it, array or list. You get it? So the whole of this has an index of what? 0. The whole of this has an index of 1. The whole of this has an index of 2. Okay, so if you do it this way, the whole of this has an index of 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so now we want to call only this. What do? We put 0 in there. And when we run this, it gives us only the first row because it has an index of 0. Okay, now we want the second. We put 1 here. It gives us what? 1. So it gives us that. Okay, in that order. So now we want to do something more complicated. This is where the challenge comes in. We want to pick this row and that row, just like we did with the steps. Okay, but we'll notice that when we try it, okay, let's say we are picking from row, we want everything from rows, every columns, and we just want to do skip step 2, right? See what happens. It does that for us beautifully. Interesting. So now you see it picked this one and that one for us, like we see here. Okay. Okay, so we have that done. Now we want to pick from here. We want to pick only this one, and this one. We want to pick only the last column. Or okay, let's do it. And let's make it easier for ourselves. We want to pick this one, and that one. Okay. So what would have done will probably be bring a comma, okay, and then give it that, give us all that, give us the only the first row, the first column. But then we are going to get an error because it doesn't have such inbuilt functions. Okay, we are going to get an error, but this works for us. I mentioned that to play around with arrays, okay, there is a module that has been developed by people that use programmers that use Python. Python is an open. People create modules and share it. Modules are like codes that perform certain functions and share it for free. So instead of you wracking your head around all this, you just have to import that module. Okay, and that module that we are going to work with is numerical Python, also known as NumPy. Okay, so like I mentioned, if, for example, you buy maybe a mobile phone from a certain shop, okay, what happens is that within that shop, any services that are available because of the fact that you bought something from there, you have access to them. So someone that did not buy from that shop may not have access to those things. This is just an analogy I'm creating. So similarly, if we create a certain array within NumPy, what happens is that now we have access to all the things that are available within NumPy. That helps us to perform operations on an array. Okay, so for example, I mentioned that if you want to find the mean and all that from this, you will have to perform several iterative operations on the what do you call it, the array before you arrive at your answer. But then if it is in NumPy, you just call the command .mean, you have your results. So instead of you rewriting the long arduous, going through the long arduous process of writing your own code, you can just use that module to make things easier for you. So that is why we installed NumPy last time. So if you have NumPy installed, all you have to do is now you say import NumPy. However, if we import NumPy, we would always have to type NumPy whenever we are doing something with NumPy. To me, it's going to be for most programmers, it's arduous. It's like it takes a lot of time. So they give it a short notation or maybe an alias. So you call NumPy as NP. So now wherever the code sees NP, it knows that you are talking about NumPy. That is all. So we run this. It will take some time. Once it's done, this changes to 50, this changes to a value. Now that we have NumPy installed, okay, we have to create an array using NumPy so that we can have access to some of the informations within that NumPy. For example, if you buy a SIM card from, say, a certain network, what happens is that their data charges, all those things that are within that network are available to you. It won't be available to somebody, it won't be available to someone who is using a different network. That is basically how this seems. So anytime you create something within NumPy, now there are several methods. You create something within the NumPy module, there are several methods within the NumPy module that you have access to. It is like you have a subscription to a library. When you enter that library, whatever it is within, you have membership to a library, okay? Whenever you enter that library, whatever books are within that library, you have access to them. But if you don't have a membership, you might not have access to these books. So that is basically what is happening here. So for example, if you go to the library, you want to learn about physics, you just go to the physics side, pick a physics book, and then read. because you have membership. So similarly, in order to have our elements have that membership, or have that methods available to them, we have to create them within the module. So let's create our first one. Let's call it NumPy multi-dimensional. Okay. So what we do is we call our NP, which is this NumPy's alias NP. Then we say array. We are telling NumPy that because it is a function, okay, it comes with an opening and closing bracket all the times. Whatever falls within them is what the module is going to work on. Now let's create our list. Sorry, our array. See, we are also going to create a 3-dimensional array similar to that one. All right, you bring your comma. Next. And then finally, all right. So we create this. All right, when we run this, now we have 2 arrays. We have this first multi-dimensional, which is a list. It is not an array. It is an array, but then it's a list. So basically, an array is a list that has its members, its elements being, values. That's all, not strings or other data types. Okay, so let's check out our first dimension. Let's see what happens. Okay, we run this. It tells us this is our first dimension. Now let's look at our NumPy as well. You see, it gives us the same. So it gives us that this is an array, but this leaves this as a list. So what we can do is we can just put type here to see what we are working with. All right. When we run this, it tells us that the first one we created, because we did not create it within NumPy, this is how we created it. You see, there was nothing like MP or whatever. So we created it purely as a list. The results we get here is a list. Now we try type for this. And what happens is that it's going to tell us that this is a NumPy array. Okay. So now you see the difference. Because we created this within NumPy, now it's going to take this is basically an instance that we created within NumPy. Okay, so it's going to take all the attributes that are associated to any object within NumPy, and these attributes comes from the.
All right. Okay, let's proceed.
Thank you. So I think there is a challenge in the comment. Let me quickly have a look. You notice that, can you see the image on my screen, everybody? Can the image be seen? You notice that this here is empty. It means that you did not run the code, but you expect it to initialize. It is not, you did not run it, so you've not initialized this list. You notice that this was the 80th run, this is the 81st. So you did not run this. So even though you initialized it, you did not run it. That's why you have that error. Oh, I think God bless has done that. All right, thank you, God bless. I like the way you are helping each other. It's very good. All right. So now we have the 2 different types of arrays. We have the NumPy array, and then we have the inbuilt Python list. So you notice that now if you want to perform certain actions, right, we can easily perform it on the NumPy arrays, but we cannot on the inbuilt Python list. You have to go through a long process.
This is a NumPy array.
Okay, so now let's do this. Let's try and find. You notice that the same operations that we performed previously, we can perform them again. So we can pick the multi-dimensional. We can pick this one as well, and then we say we want the first item. We run this. It gives us what 1, 3, and 6. This row, the first row. Okay. Similarly, we can do it for the rest of them, which I won't go through. Now we want to pick this and this. Okay. We give it the colon, the starting point, which we can ignore, and the end point is what. Okay, let's just go through the normal ones. We want to pick only this and that, this row and this row. Okay. So we say we want to pick from 0 till 2. Okay, when we run this, it gives us the first and second row, right? Now we want to pick the first one and the third one, okay? So we give it a step like we did before, okay? So we give it a step and we say jump every step. You see now it picks.
Let's go.
Oh, okay. So who can tell me why we have only this? Who can tell me why we have only? Irene, your
Nikusaidia. Mama.
Sharon,
Niko na
can you read? All right. So who can tell me what is happening here? Why is it that I have only one, row when I did this? Who can tell me? Let me see the somebody. Okay, please. I don't know why my variable mod is not showing as what? As but NumPy. Any explanation? Which variable is not showing?
Yeah, so the first multi dimension, when I convert the list to NumPy array, and I want to check again whether it's a list, it's still showing as a this one as a NumPy array.
Because you converted it to a NumPy array. So if you have replaced it in the code, I already told you that when you make a change, it automatically replaces the previous one. So you can't get it back. That's the whole point. So if you want to get your array back, then you have to go back and run the number 9 code again so that it would go back to a list. But I don't remember us converting first multi-dimensional to a NumPy array here in this class. So I think that is where you have to do it again. You have to run this command again to revert it back to a list.
Okay.
All right. So yes, I skipped twice.
Yes.
Yes, I skipped twice, but then it's only showing me one. But in the multi-dimensional, we have 3. So even if I skip twice, I should have this and that. But why is it that I don't have it?
No, because you said on the listing, you said you should pick from 0. It should be from the index 0 to 2. But at the last one, you repeated the second line again. It should have been the third line. Should have been 3 at the back.
Okay, good. That's a good observation. So basically what is happening is that I had already sliced this multi-dimensional array. So when I slice it, it only gives me this and that, okay? So if I say skip a step, it's going to skip this and give me only this because
Yes.
I had already sliced it, okay? So if I want to include the last one in it, I have to include the endpoint, which will be 3. Then I can have both of them in there, okay? Or because I want all the rows and all the rows from beginning to end, there's no need for me to even bring anything here, okay?
Yes.
So I just go everything from the beginning all the way to the end and skip 2 steps, and it's going to give me the results. So these are some of the observations you have to make when you are working with, these arrays. It's very interesting. You have to play around it so that you have it around your fingertips, so you can test. I think recording has started again, so I'll be going over. Okay, let me see. What is the challenge here? I don't know what is happening. Is it a question? Gabriel, is it a question? All right. So whilst we wait for Gabriel, let me quickly.
Yes, please. I keep running this one, but when I execute it, I get these blank pages. I don't know whether I'm doing something wrong, please.
All right. So let's go back to the chat and let's look at your command and see what is happening. So the reason why I have this blank is because, let me show you. Yeah. You see, your NumPy is still loading. So it is not done loading. So once it's done loading, before the other lines are going to be executed, it is still executing this line. That is why this line is a star. So I don't know if you have NumPy installed. I don't know if there's going to be an error, but
I have it installed, please.
So then I don't know why this is taking too long. It's supposed to run and then give you an answer before the others are going to work. So you can see that the others are all in waiting mode. So until this is done, these ones are not going to work for you. So you have to wait. If there's an error, you can share your.
All right. Thank you, Doc.
There is okay. I don't know what is happening here. So what you notice something, right, Samuel? Let me.
Yes, he's missing the commas.
You exactly. So you have to bring them here. If not, it's not going to work because it's similar to. So now the whole of this is an element. So you have to bring a comma. The whole of this is an element. You understand? So you have to bring a comma, just like you would have done for a single, dimension array. All right. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to do something a lot more interesting. So we know how to pick rows. Okay. So we want to pick columns. I want to pick 1, 2, and 3. So what I have to do now is I have to call my array, which is the NumPy array, and then I say, because I want the columns for all the rows, okay, then it means that I have to first of all call all the rows without any steps. So I say rows from beginning to end. Now, when I bring a comma, I am asking it to do the next 4 columns, okay? So if I don't bring any comma here, it means that I am really the information you put on the left, or the expression you put on the left-hand side, is for the rows, and the expression you put on the right-hand side of the comma within this square bracket is for the column. So now we want column 1. I want only column 1. We don't want column 2, column 3. Okay. So now we have to choose and say, pick only column 1 for us. Let's run this and see what we get. So you see, it picks 1, 2, 3 for us. Okay. You notice 1, 2, 3. So similarly, if you want to pick column 2, what do we do? We can give it the index 2. Sorry, index 1. And we go. You see, it picks 3, 6, 2 for us. However, if we want to do this for a list, we might not be able to do it. Let's try this for the list and see what happens. We run this. Sorry, let me give it this command that we just gave and see what is going to happen. You see, it gives us, we cannot perform this kind of operation on this. However, I think there is a way you can do this, which is this way. So in programming, you just have to make sure you find loopholes to do what you want to do for you. So let me run this and see if it works. It works, I think, because let me look at the structure of this. Then we can tell whether it works. Yes, so it's not working. It was supposed to pick 1, 2, and 8, right? But it picks 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, and 2. So you see, these are some of the things. So in order not to face some of these challenges that we face, it is better to always initialize your arrays within NumPy so you can perform certain operations on them. Okay. So most often in programming, there are times that you would have already created a list. Okay. But you want to convert that list into an array. So what you do now is you have to convert this whole thing to an array so that you can be able to perform these operations that we are performing here on it. All right. So let's do that quickly so you understand. So what I have to do now is I could either choose to change this variable into an array, or I could save the changed list into a new variable. And for me, I always advise that overwriting variables is not a good practice, because there are times that you might need to refer to the previous variable unless you are updating a variable. There are cases where you have a variable that you always wanted to change. So every new update comes with a new variable of that variable, okay? So a new value of that variable. You have to keep changing it. That one, it's okay to initialize. But if you have any issue, I would be happy if you just lift your hand so I call you, okay?
Okay.
So if you do it that way, it helps you save old data. And me, from my experience in programming, sometimes you might need the old data. An example is what happened to Popolampo, that he actually changed it and he wanted to go back. He couldn't go back. You get it? So imagine if you have 1,000 lines of code, so maybe 2,000 or 3,000, or maybe it's an iterative process and you overwrite it, you may not get it back. It is good to always initialize a new variable to store a change within an old variable, unless you want to update that variable. So you should understand the difference, okay? So what we want to do now is we want to convert this into a NumPy array. So what we can do is that we can add NumPy here, just so we can remember the name, okay? You can choose whatever you want. You can even make it NP. It doesn't matter. This is just a variable name, okay? But I would prefer NumPy so I can remember. So now we are converting this first multidimensional to NumPy. What we do is now we call our NumPy. So it's like we have already bought a phone, but we want the services of a certain mobile phone shop, right? So what do? What we do now is we go in there and probably exchange our phone with one that is within that shop, so that we can have access to all those things, all those services within that shop. So that's basically what we are doing. So now we are saying that take the method as array. So what this as array does is that for an already defined array, it converts it to an array. Okay, so look at the difference. Here it says an MP array. For that, you are initializing it yourself. There are several methods. Okay, if you read about it, you should find them. Several methods of NumPy array. So you can choose mean, so many things. But we are initializing. So this one, we just tell it, oh, let it be an array, a NumPy array. But in this case, this first multidimensional is already initialized. We want to convert it to a NumPy array. So we just say as an array. So now what it does is that it converts this list into a NumPy array. Okay. So we run this. Now we have a new list, which is the NumPy array version of this first list. We could have chosen to just rewrite this, okay, that it would replace this. But like I said, it is not a good practice unless you plan to update your variable. If not, always maintain always put it in a different, in a new, what do you call it, in a new variable. Good. So now we can perform the functions that before we couldn't perform. So we see now it's the same array that we worked with, okay? Nothing has changed. We only converted to NumPy. And we run this command on it. See what happens. Now it's going to give us the results we are looking for. Okay, 452. Let's look at the, sorry. I would address the consent soon. Okay, give me a moment. When we run this, you see this is the array we have. So what did they do? It picked only the elements here for us. Are we good? Okay, very well. So what is the question there? I think I saw please a challenge and posted the picture. Let me look at what is happening. What is it telling you? You say this is not defined. It means that you have not initialized this. Check it very well. Is it multi or malt? Check the spelling. That's why I keep saying it's better to always copy and paste. Copy and paste so you don't fall for these errors. Okay, because if you want to type, you might make typo errors and it will never work for you. So that is where I think your problem is. It's either you did not run first multi-dimensional or the spellings of what you have here. It's not the same thing. How do you copy and paste? Can someone help with that? Can someone help with copy and paste? For those that are able to copy and paste, please help.
Because I am using Mac and I can't.
If you are Mac, there's always copy and paste. There's copy and paste in Mac as well. You can ask, I think it's Command C or something and Command P. For those using Mac, can you help Irene out with how to copy and paste using the shortcuts? Or you can just highlight it, right click, and you can copy. It's here. You can copy it. You can do that. Yes, it's Command C. Yes, I know that. So you can do that. All right. So now we have this. Okay. The next thing that we want to do is that we want to pick this one, that one, and that one. All right. So what we have to do is we can call this same function, this same variable. All right. And then what do we do? Can anyone help me out with what I'm supposed to type in here? I want 2, 1, and 1. Who can help me in the chat? Then we start, we work on the assignments that I shared. 2, 1, 1. I want to pick this one. 2, 1, 1. Who can help me? Okay, Apple, very good. Let me see. Apple has something for us. Let's see what we are going to get. All right. Your name is a bit different from mine, so let me copy mine to be sure. All right. So 211, Apple is right. Very good. Who else wants to help? Who else wants to help? This class, you have to be very vibrant. You have to try, because if you make errors, I would help you correct them. That's how you learn. Don't keep to yourself. Mauli, I think your spelling of the what you call it, the variable is probably wrong. Morel,
I've corrected it and I sent it back.
okay. Morel, you are giving me only the indices. I want everything. I want the entire command. Try just copy and paste. Okay. Yep. So it's not defined. Don't worry. I'll just correct it here. You probably did not get the name right. So I ran this. Oh, your first is also fist. All right. That's why I like copy and paste. Good. So yes. Mauli, you are good. Peter, I would want everything else. So use the name that I have here, okay? And then write the command for me. So I just copy and paste. Andy, your answer is similar to that of Mauli, so I'm positive it's going to work. Ali, yes, your answer is also similar to that of Andy, so it's correct. Okay, Pupulambo, yours is also similar to that of the first person, so it should work. Kobina, you are correct. Lucky, okay, Lucky says to 3, so let's try Lucky's and see what happens. So this is what Lucky gave us, okay? Let's run it. So Lucky, where do you think you have a problem? It's saying that your index is out of bounds, okay? You pick, this is the starting point, not the ending point, okay? Starting point, okay? Remember, starting point. The starting point should be the exact place you want it to be. It is the ending that you add an extra one, okay? Remember, this is the starting point for row, the ending point for row. Now, this is the starting point for column, okay? So if we had brought something here and then something at the end, that is when you have to add an extra one because it becomes the ending point.
But to be on the safer side, Mr. 0.5 something.
Rebecca, I can hear you, so.
I'm sorry.
All right, that's fine. So basically, this is how you're supposed to understand it. The starting point requires no addition. It is always the ending point that you add an extra one. Okay, I hope that is clear with Lucky. Lucky. All right. Let's see what Abdul
yes, it's clear. Thank you.
Okay, good. Awesome. So you see, these are some of the things that you come across. The more you try, these things come up and then you learn something new. But if you keep it in your head, you might think that it is right, but then eventually you run it and you might not get the results you are looking for. So I would want you to be forthcoming. Feel free. Share your thoughts, okay? Okay. It says that, oh, okay, maybe you are using a different name from mine. So let me just put this one here. And let me run it. Yep, it works. it works. So when it comes to programming, you should be ready to, play around. Hey, whichever angle, at this stage, right? This is where you're allowed to, learn the basics and the fundamentals. And the better you are at this stage there, the more it will help you going forward. All right. So, Eugene Asare, okay, you want us to try this? Let me try it and see what happens. I'm sure it's going to work. No. Okay, let's see what happens. Yep. You see what happens? You have sliced the array. Because what is happening is that if we remove this from there, what you are having is a sliced array. Okay? It's a 3x2. It's no longer a 3x3 because of this point. You have given it the starting and the ending. So when you do it this way, it's not going to work. Yeah, I've noticed that I changed it to 3. So when you change it to 3, it should work for you as well. It should be fine. Yep. Good. All right. So we will try one last one and then we work on the assignments that I gave. Then we end it for today. So now I want to pick 1, 2, 2, and 8. Then 2, 1, 1. The first column here and the last column. So let me copy the name of the array and put it inside the chat for you, so you can copy and use it for this work. It says, please, why is my answer different? Let me see why your answer is different, Eugene. Okay. Where are you saying your answer is different? You're showing 8, 2, and 1. I don't understand what you did there. Eugene, you are working in a 3-dimensional array, not a 2-dimensional array. How many square brackets do you see here? 3, because you put this first array inside another array. So now we are working a 2-dimensional array and you are working a 3-dimensional array. So you see the difference? You have 3. That is why you're having this challenge. Okay? So you shouldn't have put it within the square brackets. That is why you have that. So your dimension is not the same as ours. We are working in 2 dimensions and you are working in 3 dimensions. That is the error. Eugene says not me. Sorry. Eric. Yeah, Eugene. Okay, now let's try the Gideon. Why do you have an array within an array? I don't know why that is happening. I've not run it, but I am already having a feeling that it's probably not going to work. Exactly. Oh, sorry, let me remove the Dan from here. What is happening? Let me see. This is new to me as well. Nice. So we have this, and you want 1, 2. Yes, so it worked. So Eugene, you are right. Sorry, Apple, you are right. You are right. You're right. That's a very good one. So this isn't how I would have done it, but Eugene did it and it worked. So like I said, in programming, as long as it works, we accept it. There is no one way of doing things. Okay, but the conventional way is to have the list and what you have here. But this is also right. Okay, but for me, the reason why I wouldn't want you to go to this point yet is this brings in its own complication. If you are young, you learn to, go this way, and then as time goes on, you build your capabilities. But this is correct. As long it works, so it's perfect, right? Apple, good job. All right, we have one from Gabriel. Let me see if it's going to work. It gives us 1, 2, 3. So you're only picking the first column. You're not picking, we need the first and the third. Sorry, the first and the third. So you're only picking the first. Add the command to bring the third in. Okay. Andy, I feel like you have too many commas. I don't know. That's how I feel. Let's try it and see what happens. Andy. Yep. Too many. This is exactly too many commas. I think maybe you meant this. This is what you meant, I think. If I am not wrong, this is what you meant. So we run this and you are going to have it. So let's see why we have which arrays are we working with now? Because it looks like they are different. What you are working with is probably different. We are working with which array did I give us to work with? Yes, NumPy first dimension. Okay, so perhaps Eugene is working on a different one. Okay, so let me see. Let me run this and see what happens. All right, so exactly. So now we pick 1, 2, and 8. Then, so you see, you are picking 1, 2, and 8, 4, 5, and 2. That's not what we are looking for. Okay, we want to pick 1, 2, and 8, 2, 1, and 1. That's what we want to pick, right? So go back and then work on it again. Andy, you're almost there. Okay, let's see Kobinet's answer. Let's write it and see what happens. Kobina, you see, why do you think that is? You should know, because he sliced the column here. He sliced the column. That is why. So we'll come again. We have Ben. Okay, let me try Ben's quickly. All right, sorry about that. Good, Ben, you got it right. Yeah. It's different names, that's why. But I like your line of thought. You have to be innovative. It says it's not defined. Check the spelling, or you've probably not defined it. Maybe this is me, the name I'm using. This is probably not the name you are using. That is why you are not finding it. Okay, so check the names that you defined and use those ones, not mine. I was giving this name, so I was giving a name to all of you so that you work based on what we have on my screen. So choose the names that you have on my screen. All right, let's see. Andy, you have something here. Okay, let's try it and see. You are starting from the right-hand side. Let's see what happens. The reason is because you are doing this. Okay, it's just one step. You always need to bring a step in there. All right. You are missing the step. There is one crucial point. Because you are skipping a step, there has to be a third approach. Okay? Has to be a third approach. You are not giving me that third approach. Yes, I can see that Al Abdul is doing that. There should be a step. A step. The step helps you skip a certain. I have noticed that. So for example, there is a step here. There should be a step. Yes, that's what we are looking for. Yes, 1, 2, and 8, 2, 1, and 1. Yes, that's what we are looking for. There should be a step. There should be a step. Good, 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 good. Yes, so once you bring the steps in, you are good to go. Now, let's quickly look at the assignment I shared before we end the class for today. The assignments, and then, you play around it. I'll give you this, and I want you to go over them again, because this is very important. The reason for that is, if you don't understand this well, when we start working on pandas, like you're going to have challenges. So it's important you understand this well. So now, what we are going to do is, I gave the instruction. You first need to import NumPy as NP. Then you don't have to type the lines yourself, okay? Just use this command to create the array for you. So now the name of the array is ARR. This is the variable that you give to it, okay? So you can choose any name you want, but for the assignment, it is ARR, okay? I made it easier for you. So what we do is, you didn't have to worry about, just copy this line, okay? Let's copy it. Right now in your copy this, and let's go to our notebook here. We have already imported NumPy as NP here, so we don't need to import it again. Becomes redundant. You've done that already, so there's no need. Now we run this. So what this does is that it is going to create a range of numbers, okay? The range is from 1 to 24. Then once it is done, it would reshape it. So you see, in NumPy, another method is to help you reshape, okay? So you will notice that NumPy, first of all, it creates a range of numbers for you. This alone, okay, let me show you something. This alone gives you this, right? You see, it gives me one long list. This is another way of doing things. But later on, after getting this, I want to change this again to have this. You see, so it is like I did this the first time, and I'm doing it the second time, but I put all of them together for you guys to understand. Do you understand? So this now becomes, now I'm saying that these values I have, reshape it to 4 and 6, okay? This is what happens. So what do you see here? You have 4 rows and 6 columns, okay? So I'm saying that now reshape the values I have to have 4 rows and 6 columns. So that's exactly what it did for me. Okay, so that is basically the meaning of that line that I showed you. I hope this is clear. Are there any questions here?
Even after typing this, I'm still getting the error.
Which error? Share the screen. Let me see what you're having. So besides Irene, I hope this part is clear. So the reason why we always initialize in NumPy is that NumPy has several methods that would help you make your work easier. So for example, if we had wanted to create this using a list, we'd have had to type it 1, 1, 1, 1. But we only just need to find a range of numbers and then reshape it. Voila, we have this. So these are some of the things, the reason why I prefer to use NumPy and why most programmers use NumPy. It helps you because it has several methods. So the methods are like an example I gave you, the services at a mobile phone shop that you have access to. So the moment you call on that service, you are good to go. If your service provider gives free data, free call time, free whatever, the moment you buy a SIM there, you have access to all those things. And depending on what you want to do, you pick the exact method that is going to help you achieve that aim. So if you wanted to create a range of numbers, you pick arrange. It creates it for us. Wanted to reshape to convert it to a multi-dimensional array. We have it. You understand? So that is how you use the modules. So we are going to be using modules a lot in programming. All right.
I'm using my phone to join the line. The lesson is on my laptop, so
You can just take a photo and put it in the chat so we can have a look and check on it. All right. So let's start with the first question. So the first question says we want to pick this single element. So what I want you all to do is first run this command. Okay, run this. If you run this command, it's going to create the array for you. Okay, all of you. This is in the chat, both the WhatsApp and the WeChat, so you can have access to this PDF. So it will give you an output like this. If you run print array, give you something like this. It just wants you to see the array. So we have row 1. This is the row 0 index. Row 2, which is the index 1. Row 3, index 2. Row 4, index 3. Okay. Then we have columns the same way. And you can go with the negatives as well. So now we want to pick 14, this value. Okay, you want to pick this. How do we go about it? Put the answer in the chat. I want to see the answer in the chat. How do we do this? Okay. Okay, Eugene says array 2, 2. Apple says 2, 2. Let's try it and see what happens. All right. Let's go in there. So I just copy this and paste here. We run. All right. Wait, let me see. Maybe it is from my end. Let me see what happens. This. It's not converted. So what I have to do is I have to assign this. And I convert it. Good. Then now I can run this and see what I get. So drop your answers in the chat. Good. Eugene and Apple, your answers are correct. Let me see Morel. Let me quickly try this. Yep, it gives us 14. Okay, good. We have Kobina. Yes, Kobina, your answer is right. Irene, let me look at where your challenge is quickly.
We are praying that God would help us to easily forgive, in the name of Jesus. You want to make this a prayer?
Thank you very much, Owobi. All right, so what we have here, Irene, it is saying that it's not defined. Are you sure you have defined this? And make sure the words are correct. Look at arrange. It is not a double R, it's a single R. You are writing double R. This will always give you error. These are commands, and I've told you that Python is very keen on each and every definition it gives here. I can see you have written double R. It is not going to work. Anyway, so we have Abdul. Okay, Abdul. Oh, Abdul's array is not defined. So Abdul, I think it's ARR. Let me try ARR and see. Yes, it works. So Abdul, let's look at Emmanuel. Yes, good, good, good. So now let's go back to the code. Sorry, let me close this. Irene, I hope you are sorted now. Okay, so now we want 5. What is going to be the answer to that? We want 5. Yeah. Someone has the answer. Who else? We want 5. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me go into the code again. Let me run these. So it starts from Samuel. Yes, Samuel is correct. Let's try James. James is correct. Good. Let's try Kevin's. Yes, Kevin is correct. So you see the same assignment. I think who is the first person? Someone chose, to go there from left to right. James chose to be a hybrid, chose from right to left. I like that. This is the beauty of programming. You try all these things and see how it's going to work. Let me see for this. I'm not too sure, but let me see. Let me try it and see. It works. So Apple looks like Apple has some what do you call it? What's the name? Cheat code that none of us have here. But he keeps bringing in some new things. Anyway, that's great. I like that. All right, so let's have this as well. Like I said, there's no one way of doing things in programming. You run this. Good. Morel, you're right. Let's have Emmanuel. Yes, we are good. Abdul. Yes. Very good. Very good. Eugene. Eugene and Abdul are the same, so we'll be right. Hey, Wale. Wale says, or Will, sorry. I'm from Ghana, so your name will be Wale in Ghana, but I don't know if it's an English name or a Ghanaian name, so I'm calling it Will or Wale, whichever one works. So is your name Will or Wale? Are you here?
Wale.
Wale one. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
Wale.
Okay, Wale. So I'll copy this and I'll put it here. And let's see what. Oh, you are printing it. Good. We are good. So now it looks like people are adding a lot of aesthetics to the answers. That is very good. Very good. Very good. So let's go to the next one. This is going to be the final one for set 1. Yes. So midnight is just telling you that it's an integer. It's an integer 5. Don't worry about it. It's not scary at all. Okay, the integer 5. That's all. All right. So we have Abdul and Apple. So let me quickly try it. Abdul, let's see what happens. Yep, good. We have Apple. Good. Let's look at James. James like coming from the negative side. So James, let's see what James has for us. Good, James. Morel. Yeah, Morel also likes to, put in some garnishing and all that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's look at Emmanuel. Good, Emmanuel is right. Abdul. We're almost done too for today. Good. Oh, the hybrid. Nice. Abdul, that's a good one. Let's look at Ali. All right. Yes, excellent, Ali. Now, Eugene. Good, 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 good. Okay. Let me look at that. That's Sham, right? Good. Sham, you're good to go. Samuel, a mixture, hybrid, people are cooking. Good, good. That's very good. All right. So let's go to our set 2. Okay. So the set 2, we want to copy, this entire row. So who can help me? This is very easy. Everybody can do this. So I can just run away, skip this. This is too easy. My class is too smart for this. Way too smart. Is that true or false? Who cannot do this in this class? Everybody can do this. I'm sure you can even do this in your sleep. When they wake you up and then they just call you, hey, give me an answer to this. You just open one eye and give the answer and go back to sleep. So this, all right. Good, 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 good. So now let's do the more interesting one. This one, I want you to pick the first row and the last row. First row and the last row. First row and the last row. First row and the last. You're almost out of time. I was hoping to finish this before the end of the class, but it looks like we would have to go through we have to leave it as an assignment again for the class for next week. All right, let me quickly look into it. Let me start from, yep. Okay. Gideon, Appel. Let's see what happens. It gives us only, okay, that is the only row. Now let's see what happens with the column. 3 columns. Yes, so it gives us the 2 columns. Yes, this is what we want. So Appel is right. 0 to 5, 18 to 23. Good. Let me see, Eugene. Eugene. Good one, Eugene. Let's have Abdul. Now I'm observing certain things that I'll talk about later. But now we are in the sandbox, so you're allowed to play around and all that. Now I'll show the differences in some of these things when we go forward. Some of the data types we churn out as response. We'll talk about all of them. But for now, let's just, enjoy the class. Whoa. Samuel, you see what we have? Not doing exactly what we are looking for. So revise your approach again and see what happens. Let's try this. Good one, James. Your answer is similar to Emmanuel's, I think. Yes, good one, Emmanuel. Samuel, Samuel, I don't think it's going to work. You didn't add something. There should be something. You have to call it on an array. You're not calling it on an array, so it's not going to work. Kevin. Let's see what happens. Good. Kevin, you're good. Eric Ando. Okay, let's see what happens, Eric. Good. Good one. Good one. Good one. Good one. Good one. So basically, I believe that at this point, most of us have got a hang of, that. And let's try the final one, and the rest, I'll leave it for you as an assignment. You do it, and then you share the results in the in the chat. So I'm sure by now, Morel, you should be able to do set 5 based on the understanding you have, the slicing that we've done. All right, so let's quickly slice this. We've already done this. So can you give me this column? The solution for this exercise 4, set 3. Exercise 4, set 3. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Okay, I'm starting with Emmanuel. Yeah. Let me see. Yep. I should think this is right. Let me check. 3, 9, 15, 21. Yes. Yes. Emmanuel, that's good. So, okay. Yep, Akko, you are right. So you notice that there are some differences in the way the response churn out. And the reason why I'm allowing all that to go through is because I don't want to further complicate it, but I want you to understand certain things. And going forward, you will know how. You notice that this one gives only columns. You see, so each column is within each row, but this one gives a single vector. So depending on the kind of data type, data results you want, you may have to adapt certain things. So that is when, we enforce some of these laws. But for now, the most important thing is that you have the understanding of how to churn these things out. So I won't go too deep into those ones. All right, great. Abdul, you are good. Eugene? Very good. James? Great. James, you got it. Well, yes. Good. Mida? Very good. Very good. Very good. Andy? Yeah. Very good. So Kevin and Andy's answer are the same. So let me see. Ali? Let's see what happens. Yes, Ali, got it. You got it. Andy? Good. All right, Ben, finally. Yep, Ben, you got it. And then Sham, let me quickly get this. And then we end for today. Yes, Sham, you're right. So basically, it seems that at this point, most of us understand the iris slicing when it comes to multidimensional. So what I'll do is I'll leave the rest of the assignment. So in this case, you are picking the last two. In this case, you are picking 1, 3, and 4. Okay. So this is going to be very interesting, but I would see how you would have to do it. And then finally, you go to 5. For 5, you pick like the arrays within it. Like for this, you just pick the ones that is between. That's why I highlighted this way for you to see. So you do all this, and on the final one, I want to see an array like this, an empty one, and all these things. So just play around it, and we would have a look at it at the end of tomorrow's class. Sorry, Wednesday's class. So play around. For those that do not understand this, what I would suggest you do is start working on them, and if you don't understand something, put it in the chat. I'm sure your colleagues will be happy to help you. See, I keep saying, don't feel shy or feel bad if you don't know something. Somebody didn't know how to copy and paste. There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So today, that person would have learned how to do that. Okay? So it's important. I'm going to repeat it again. Share your concerns, irrespective of how you think it's going to sound silly or whatever. Just put it in there. I can assure you that you're going to learn something new when you share. Okay? So I would leave that for today. And I believe we are done for today. So have a wonderful evening, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day. See you on Wednesday. Okay, bye-bye.